We're recording.
Okay, 6:30, I'll bring the meeting to order. Modifications and changes, got anything to add?
Catherine and I want to speak to something when it's Catherine's turn on the agenda.
Okay.
Something to propose, I guess.
Well, her name's there, so that would work.
Yeah.
Okay, no other modifications or changes, we'll move on to public comment. Is there anybody here from the public that wishes to speak? That is not an agenda item.
I thought that's why I invited you to the meeting.
I just want to know what was going on. Because the links that she was sending me made no sense at all.
In reference to what you had sent to me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, her inquiry is the rate increase, correct?
Right.
There you
She
go.
just kept sending me all this crazy stuff and I had to download apps to see what was going on. I'm like, I'm not doing that.
So I can actually get you a copy of the notice. It's Thursday night at 7 o'clock. It's going to be a virtual meeting only. It's not going to be an in-person. It'll be John and myself, and if any trustees want to come, and then with the Department of Public Service.
Okay.
So I can go get you a copy. I have one right
You
on
don't
my
have to do
desk.
that now.
Are you staying for the meeting? Or okay.
I'm here.
Don't leave
And she
without.
walked, so she's my next door neighbor.
Don't leave without making sure I get that for you, because I do have one up on my bulletin board.
Okay.
Okay, if there's no other public comment, we will move on to review and approval for the minutes of July 11th.
They look
Good.
fine.
If they got Sandy's stamp of approval, I'll hear a motion to accept them.
I move we accept. Second.
Sandy with the first, Heather with the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Okay, up next we have Catherine Bennett with a request for Recreation Department funding.
Yes, so I actually have two different types of funding that I'm requesting. Hopefully everybody here is familiar with the project that we have. I'm gonna let you pass that around. I know you know about it.
So that's the playground.
So yeah, that's actually a pretty accurate depiction of what the playground will look like. Some of the placement might be modified just for ADA access. But we will be moving forward with this. Spring installation is the target at this point in time. And we have been met with just a great deal of excitement from the community. It's been very clear to the rec committee that as we talk about adding some of these recreational outlets, that the community really needs it and really wants it. However, we did have some challenges with funding because we fall under the municipality. We are not for-profit, but we're not a non-profit, so we fell through the cracks for most of the grant opportunities that came before us. So we've been approved for the Better Places grant funding campaign through the ACCD, and this is, we have set a target goal. This, if we match that during a 60-day window, the state will match it 2-to-1. So it's a huge opportunity for us. And I'm here to explore the possibility of any ARPA funds or any funds that could be available to go towards this. I did talk to Billy Jo. She said that the town would be open to matching up to about $5,000 of ARPA funds. And I just found out today that I didn't think that any donations from the village could count towards this crowdfunding campaign, towards our target goal that we have to meet, but you can actually. So any money that you could possibly donate would actually be matched 3-to-1 with this ARPA funding. So it's a huge opportunity for us. Like I said, Billy Jo did say that they could potentially match 5,000. I'm not here asking for a specific number. At this point, anything helps. It's a big undertaking, it's a big project, and I don't even know if there's ARPA funds available or any other general funds, but I think it's worth a conversation. And if I can throw in my own personal comment to this, you know, those of us who are working on this project, we're doing it just as volunteers for the community. My kids, I got 2 kids that are not going to use this at all, and Kate will, but the other people, their kids are grown. We're doing this really for the community, and I think it's very important as we move into this crowdfunding campaign where we're asking the community members themselves to donate, that the town leaders step up and say, hey, we support this financially and make that financial statement, to stand behind us and set that precedent. So I'm really hopeful that you're receptive to that. So that's one funding request. During this crowdfunding campaign, we can actually fundraise. And actually it was Kate who saw the Legion doing the coin drop up on Main Street, and she said, hey, let's do that for the playground. So, hey, let's do that for the playground. It does need to be done during the 60-day window, which will be September and October, September 1st to October 31st. And I'll be heading it up. So if you're open to it, I will, and work around your schedule, as long as it works for me and it works for you. We'd love to do that. It's a one-time request. So there's my long spiel. Do you have any questions?
Do you have a date picked out for coin drop?
I don't. Like I said, I'm super flexible. As long as it's in that 60-day window and it fits in my schedule, I'm open to whatever you tell me to do.
So I know the Legion had one for Memorial Day, right?
Yes.
Would Labor Day be a fitting weekend?
Yes, if I'm around, I'll check my schedule. But yeah, as long as it's after September 1st.
Yeah, that could
It
work.
is, it's like the 5th or something.
Yeah, yeah.
But as far as funding goes, the rec department is a line item through the town's general fund.
Mm-hmm. So
as the village, we can't really use taxpayer money to help support that because we're already paying for it. And so if that was the case, if village residents, let's just say, match whatever the town gives for general fund, it would be disproportionately affecting taxpayers of the village because the grand list and the population are about 50-50 between the town and village, but the village pays into the town's general fund, which some of those departments are funded with both that money, like the rec department is. So our general fund is off limits for that. We may be able to come up with something else that's not taxpayer raised revenue, but I'll have to talk with the board to see where and if and how much we can pull. But I think that there's definitely some money somewhere.
yeah, I will add, quite honestly, the only reason that I perfectly heard what you said. I understand the balance between the two. I get it. I'm just going to add that the only reason that we qualified for this Better Places crowdfunding campaign is because they grandfathered us in as part of the village. So
Part of the village, not the town?
yes, in order for this, the campaign's qualifications are that we have to be in the town center. And because we will now be connected to the town and we're so tight as a community, this Richard Amore, he was a part of, help me out, Sandy.
Started out
Was
before
he-
Enosburg Initiative with
Yeah, so he was
Yeah.
really familiar with the village and he grandfathered us in for this. So it's really because of you that we're able to do this, so thank you for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll talk about it as a board and we'll see what we can do and how
Okay.
much
That's all we
and
can
whatnot.
do.
I just wanted to make it clear that we can't use any taxpayer money.
I kind of figured, but, you know, I can throw it out there.
So yeah, I guess we'll.
Where on the grounds would that be?
So if you're familiar with the rec fields, if you pull into the upper parking lot, the dirt parking lot, there's a shed, storage shed. It's directly past that. There's sort of an incline and the town's prepping the whole site for us, so it's more level and that's where it's gonna go.
So it's not the site that, when I was on the site view a while
Correct.
ago, it's the
Correct,
alternate.
the board approved the further location.
Okay.
So,
Not as steep as a thing for ADA accessibility that way.
there's a lot of groundwork that needs to happen. The playground can only have 1 foot of grade for every 40 feet, so it's a substantial amount of
Yeah,
work for
but
that
better than the
location.
lower part.
Well, yeah. So, okay, and then you're thinking Labor Day weekend for a coin drop? That works too?
Just an idea.
Just make sure you get your permit.
Okay,
right? We need a permit for that.
They usually just
No,
do it.
we
Usually
didn't-
it's just a
They
letter.
didn't do it? Oh, okay.
Well,
Send us a nice letter.
They wrote a letter asking permission to
Okay.
put in a coin drop, but there's no, you're not doing it.
We don't have a
where,
coin drop.
where would you want to do it? On the same corner as the Legion?
We're kind of open by Sandy's.
I was just gonna say, right in front of my house, that's where they all go.
Yeah.
I have to pay to get out of my driveway.
Yeah, where 105 and 108 meet, that
Okay.
seems logical, but again, I'll do it wherever you want.
105 and Orchard?
Well, 105 and 108, that strip, that's what we were hoping.
Well, 108 actually is West Berkshire Road, so you.
Right, but they
105
meet from Orchard, well, they actually meet from here.
Yeah, it's right, this intersection to the
Yeah.
intersection of, well, Elm Street and West
Right,
Berkshire is
right.
108.
Anyway, we were thinking by Sandy's, but
That's where it seems to work quite well.
Yeah, but so, what we usually, our policy is just write a letter, or just, it has to be like a paragraph, it doesn't have to be anything special.
okay, just
just-
requesting permission.
Basically, yeah, requesting it.
Some of the safety,
Do you want me to list out what we'll do for safety?
yeah,
Is
I
that
mean,
what
that's
you-
generally what they put in there.
Yeah.
But-
So the Legion had a couple of cones and sandwich boards on the yellow line,
Yeah.
Yep.
and then they were wearing vests. Is
Yep.
that sufficient?
Yep.
Or do
No,
you wanna
there should
see
be
more?
none. Worked in the past, so.
They all made it through.
Yeah,
But yeah, we'll go that route, I guess.
great, thank you so much. John, do you wanna lead in?
Sure. So Catherine and I have been speaking a little bit about a youth council, but not someone like a youth group, but, so we've been going back and forth a little bit on the idea, probably hopefully getting the school involved. We're still learning, but I wanted to, Catherine was here, just wanted to bring it up tonight. I can pass this around too. I've been searching the Highlands, trying to find other towns, villages, cities that do the same thing. But we're looking to get a youth group that basically is made up, they go from 8th grade up to senior year, but kind of get involved civically with the community, but then also they, at first it sounded like in this city, in Dodge City, Florida, that they actually used to have a member on the board, on their board of some sort, but that, they passed some law, I did a little more research on it, I talked to one of the ladies today down there. So they couldn't really do that anymore, so now it's essentially a club. So they do still kind of have a representative that listens in, but they learn about the voting process and all that, so they basically learn the process of what
Civics
happens. Yeah, a civics club, but then they also go out in the community and do some things civically that, so we're in the process of trying to learn more on it and present it. I just figured, seeing as Catherine is here, that it might be a good time to speak to it, just to bring up the idea and as we gather more information.
So I'm super excited because actually I've been working on a proposal similar to this with Vermont After School. We have a youth council that we've been trying to do in the school systems, and we basically, long story short, 4-year process, all of our students are gone, they graduated, so we have to start over. And I've been trying to figure out how to remodel it, and my ideal world was to have like a junior trustees can be sort of like 5 members voted in by their peers, and have a person in a rotation come to meetings to like liaison between the boards. They're not voting members, but like they would come and they would observe what actual meetings are like. We actually have money for them to do participatory budgeting. So $2,500 where the youth would come up with projects, and then we would give them money to implement their projects. So it's kind of similar, so I'm really excited. I'd
Yeah,
love
we
to
can
learn more.
definitely piggyback off that. I mean, that's just, they do it like an application process. That's what Bat City does, but we can obviously change things up a little bit. I don't know if you had any to.
I just think it's a great idea. Obviously, I've watched Kate go through this. She's now on her 2nd round of, trying to implement a change in town. And I think that the youth in this town is sometimes sold short. And we've got some really, really stellar kids in this town with stellar ideas, and their perspective's just different. We need to hear them. So I'm all in, I think it's wonderful, and will support you both in any way possible. You know, I can actually think of one kid at high school, I think she'll be graduating this year, but just an excellent leader that would step up and be a part of that. But, you know, I think John and I were discussing the structure and how involved the school would or wouldn't be, so that's a lot of decision making in your end. But,
I think giving the opportunity to younger kids, the group that I had help me plant the Bridge of Flower and Lights, we came in here after, and I got actually a couple good pictures of them sitting around. I was gonna send you guys, say you all have been replaced, but they were very,
The chairs.
they were very interested, like asking a ton of questions and going through and asking a lot about the process. So I don't know what you guys are thinking for age level, but that group of fifth graders was super interested in how it all worked. They were a good group of kids.
well, that's
You
what
kinda
it
can't
was.
start too early.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of bringing it up. I'm gonna do a little more research and probably come back again. It may not even need, because if we don't go the route of like, obviously changing our statute or anything like that, I mean, just might be a club of some sort.
Right.
That's what they've designed to, the club. And again, as a person coming in from the public would be here. So it may not need much from the trustees, but
Sounds like it has a lot of potential.
yeah. So we're working on that.
Can I get in on that then? So
Oh,
it
yeah.
sounds like I'm working on something completely parallel in my work life. And why have two things?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah,
That's-
absolutely.
So,
Yeah, that's definitely
Yeah.
the plan. And we're in the beginning stage, it's kind of like one of these projects I pick up and start working on, and then
Yeah, pretty
So-
much I've just shot him back all these questions and said.
yeah, I'll,
lots of questions.
Lots of
I will try to
questions.
remember to send you to actually a document that I've created of a rough draft of how we could possibly enlist students and what duties would be and stuff. I've got a document.
I'll
I think
email
the
you.
budget's great too. Give them the opportunity to change,
Yeah.
to be the change.
Yeah, in Iceland and Finland, the municipalities actually have a sum of money set aside specifically for youth councils to determine how to spend. So it's like a budget line item, and then there's the participatory budgeting process. They have to go through similar stuff that we do in our regular meetings, but it's specifically for youth endeavors, whether it's a park or it's a concert series, but the kids are part of planning it and figuring out how to spend the money and learn what's the word I want? Procurement methods, and some like various levels of being in charge. And it's pretty cool, and it's been working quite a bit in those countries.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And bravo to you for bringing that to life here in Enosburg.
Yeah,
That's
that's
great.
part of the Vermont Youth Project that we've been trying to work on, but yeah. So I'll email you the documents I have. I'm happy to align the projects.
Perfect.
All right,
That's all we have on that.
awesome. Okay, up next we have Enosburg Library Park application for trunk or treat.
Thanks, yeah.
Have a good night. Thanks for coming.
Well, hello, Brenda. Hello. Nice of you to come and see us.
Again. So, did the permit for the free little library. I think that way we could ask about.
Doing
too.
that way next, we're gonna do the
Hey,
trunk or treat.
sorry, trunk or treat first.
Trunk or treat,
and,
okay.
yeah.
I emailed Brent Garrow with the Lions Club. He spoke with Larry Laro, and he is willing to, for the Lions Club, to do the cones, the barricades for the streets, just like last year again, for trunk or treat. So that's already been discussed, already dealt with. I have the official email that they will do that. Same thing as last year, basically. And that was very successful. I know Abby was there and Heather, were you there?
Yeah, we have a dinosaur trunk.
That's right. I mean, it was a huge success. It was amazing how many people came to that and the positive atmosphere. So that's why I want to make it an annual thing. And I figured, I'm coming tonight, I might as well get that permit in front of you too and not have to come back later for it in.
Oh, come on, you love it here.
I do. I'd love to have you guys, but, so that's what the permit is for.
Well, it was
Fantastic.
such a
My
hoot last year.
Kids went to
Yeah,
it and
that's great.
loved it, and I think got way more candy than they needed.
Agreed. Should've just like snuck it back into my phone. Give it back out to other kids.
Well, you could try giving out fruit, but it may not work as well.
Actually, I did have some fruit. Amazingly, there were just some kids that are like, I can't eat this for whatever reason, you know, like
Not my
I'm stuck, like I'm allergic to it or whatever. So
Right,
like,
yep.
yeah, or a couple parents, or some, you know, some toddlers or whatever. They were.
Yeah.
Like, I had some pretzels, and it's like there were some kids who were
Because we usually have some non-food items for those children with allergies. Just the little things like you'd get at the dentist's office, if you will,
Yeah,
and they love that,
yeah.
so.
Motion?
Will we accept?
Second.
Sandy with the first, Heather with the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, nay. Okay, there's that one now.
Now,
Free
yeah,
little library.
yes.
So as we discussed last meeting,
Mhm.
nothing really has changed.
Nope, just the official, and I have no idea what they're gonna look like color-wise, because the day camp is painting them, so I have no idea what they're gonna look like.
They're going to be colorful.
They
little
are.
surprise.
I've already been told, whoops, we put some primer on the handles, we gotta get that off. Whatever, I'll see it when it's done.
It's all part of it.
That's right. I know, the town has said, yes, we can put one right in front of the town offices right now, until they tear down the building, then we'll revamp that position. But as we talked about, I think you guys said, over by the drinking fountain in front of the Doughboy area, so.
You can see the most traffic there for sure.
Mhm.
Motion to accept?
Will we accept?
Second.
Sandy with the first, Heather with the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, nay.
I'd like to make a comment that some people have said that they didn't think it was right to have a banner on the fence where the Doughboy is. It's disrespect to the Doughboy. There's a banner there. And they said that banner should be separate, not on the fence. I'm only
Well,
telling
the town band has been having band concerts since the mid-1800s, and there's been a banner on the fence,
on
every
Tuesday.
fence we've ever had,
On Tuesday.
every Tuesday,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but this banner is staying there. What is it? It's
The
the,
Legion
It's
still
the
owns
summer
that?
concert series. No, I don't think so.
No.
No,
We-
we
we own-
replaced
we
that
own the
fence,
fence
we
now?
own the fence.
we own the fence.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm only saying what I've heard. Yeah.
Well, I haven't heard a word from the Doughboy.
He hasn't said nothing.
And we're not gonna put anything on the Doughboy, I promise. We won't.
At the concert 2 weeks ago, the Doughboy was holding, there was something blue. And we took a picture of it and we tried to focus in and we couldn't figure out what it was, but
It's magic.
No.
It was the spirit of the Doughboy.
Yep. All right, move right along here. Trustee signature for Church Street grant.
That's just another, it's conclusion to A&R grant.
Thank you, Brenda.
Just gotta sign
There
it.
you go.
Brenda.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda.
thank you.
So that-
So we just gotta sign this?
Just gotta sign it,
Yeah, okay.
nothing big.
We already discussed the funding.
Yeah.
Okay, we can sign that when they're packing up for executive. Manager's report.
Just an update on the fencing. I called Round Hill out of New Orleans.
Did you reach them?
I did reach them.
Oh, good.
She said Mike was gonna get back to me and try to set up a time to come down and take a look at both what this would take over here and also the, trying to get as best as close as he can for the fencing for the, copying the Doughboy fencing for
The bandstand?
the bandstand.
They sold that particular kind of fence too, so I'm sure they'll be able to do it.
Okay. So
We
yeah.
just went with the other company because it was half the price.
So I think the tough part is, I mean, I think if it was just that fencing, it'd be a little bit quicker, but I'm trying to get in here physically to assess this scenario over here, what's gonna take, what's it look like, so. That's,
Have we discussed at all in our conversations about the new railing, of also finding a tiny pot of money to do in between the concrete pillars of the Vietnam memorial that's there. One of the Legion members, Lombi LaBelle, actually had offered to pay to have that done. And the poor man contacted the guy that put the fence in all summer long and never heard back from him, and then they moved.
So what exactly is?
There's 4 concrete pillars
Yeah,
with chain, just kind of like black chain link in between.
yep.
And I wondered if we could get the same matching steel fencing, or aluminum, I guess we bought aluminum fencing, to go in between those pillars instead of the chain, so that everything would match.
Yep.
I mean, it's only gonna be like 4 little pieces.
They're short too, right?
Yeah, and they're short, just
I'll
so that
ask
they
him.
would match.
I'll ask him when we can get him here. I'll add that to
And
it.
chain kinda looks like you stole it off a destroyer's escort or something.
Trying to be authentic, bold and authentic.
Looks, there's enough paint on it.
You good there?
Yep.
Okay. Speed bumps. So I don't know if I put this in the packet because I got it. Yeah, Gary just, well,
You can send mine around, you can throw it
well, I
either.
got it.
No.
So, still getting a few comments on the aggressiveness of them. So it'd be $500, and Nabby's going through the budget right now to see if there is any other funds right now available from last year. So it'd be $500 to replace those 2 that we have in place with a 2-inch version that is more of a tabletop. And then go from there. And then this, I did get a quote. This is the total dollar amount for 10 if we decide to do others in the village. These are actually paved tabletops. So I talked to Burlington and I talked to Jericho, who have them, and they didn't really seem to have an issue with them. They are a little bit more. They do take out the pavement and then pave these in.
And they must have to plow just like we do.
They said, yeah, they don't really have any issues. Obviously, slow down to plow them, but they plow over them. They obviously leave your space on either side for the water to drain through. So other than having to go back and paint them or do anything else, stripe them, it's pretty much
On the
the only.
Poor Farm Road up in Williston, they got several of them, and they said they just pick up the snowplow just a little bit. The guy that's plowing knows they're there,
Yeah,
and they just raise the plow just a little bit, no problem.
yeah. They said they've been maintenance free since they put them in.
Yeah.
Like you said, once in a while, the guy forgets and he's a little fast. The corner will catch it, but
Burlington right now, they're actually making crosswalks on top of them,
yeah,
so they're actually raised crosswalk.
yeah. There's a lot of that now. That when I was doing my research, I saw the raised crosswalks as well.
Yep.
Yeah. We went with 10. I mean, we just had them price it out. I mean, obviously divide that by 10, and that's what you get for one.
$3,600 a piece.
But again, that could be for the future. Just was grabbing some information on them.
And what did the rubber ones cost again?
It was
Originally?
about $500 to replace. I thought I had it in here.
The original price, do you remember that?
It was $4,000.
I wanna say for the sections that we got, it wasn't,
It's about the same. It's about
Right, yeah, it wouldn't be a whole lot, well, it'd be 36 for one.
the other thing that's not
Permanent.
factored into that price
the
is
signs.
4 signs per every speed bump.
That's why I was. So that's
40
first.
signs, yeah.
The
Yeah.
signs are probably in
The
the
most
end almost as
expensive.
They gotta be a couple
expensive.
$100 a piece.
Correct,
Yeah.
plus you gotta get the posts and everything.
Yeah.
They need 4 per one.
Yeah, 4 signs per bump.
I can see like one of the benefits with the permanent ones is we don't have to use our staff time to make adjustments with them,
Yeah, it's kind of one and done.
and it sounds like they last a very long time.
Are we planning on doing anything on the Water Tower Road?
I mean, at this point, we don't have it. I mean, I picked 10. We figured one more. If we replaced, we'd have 3 on Orchard, a couple on Pleasant, maybe one near the high school in Dickinson, and then one on the Water Tower.
Well, now I'm jealous. What happened to Maine? Come on now.
We just picked 10 because Gary said, you know, the more you get, the cheaper it would be per
Go back
board.
to using my shot.
So,
And it is one unit the length of the road,
yes, that's the length of the road.
to the width, I guess. So that would be 10 individual, so yeah, 2, 4, 6, plenty for all around the whole village.
Yeah.
Well, anywhere that has a problem.
I mean, for the short term, we can look at the other version of the tabletop ones that are made. I mean, they're made to go like 15 to 20 miles per hour over.
Well, I like the idea of using those temporary ones that we have as like a good gauge for placement of a permanent one.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
it could be like a warning for
Test
people. If they
case.
see the temporary speed bumps.
Ooh, it's like,
then
oh
you
crap,
must
one
get
here too.
permanent ones. Yeah. Yeah, okay, well, that's good to know.
Yeah, I just gathered the information so we'd know.
And did they talk about how long it takes to install one?
I don't know, I know.
Our crew or ECI to do?
I don't think we'd be able to do
Yeah, I
that.
assume
Yeah,
it'd
no,
be ECI
ECI
doing
would be-
it, but I was just curious how long it would take them to, like, probably not that long?
As in
To
scheduling
install,
out
to
or?
install one, like the actual installation.
Oh, I'm sure they could probably do, within a day or two, they'd have them all done.
Oh, like all of them,
Yeah.
like if we did not,
Yeah, something to chew on, I guess. I've also seen, I meant to say this last meeting, about the poor guy with his low car. I've seen him spaced out before, so you could drive, like if the, let's just say northbound lane has one, and then the southbound lane has one
Oh.
12 feet, 15 feet apart, that way you can,
Oh, so he
Let's go
couldn't
in
leave his
between.
driveway?
right, that way you can have a low car and still get through the speed bumps, and you obviously have to go slow, because you gotta kinda get through everything, but that's another thought to consider.
yeah. The
Or go back
downside
to
is based
Mexico.
on what we had heard in a previous meeting, you probably have a lot of people having a lot of fun weeding.
Yes, that barrel seemed to work though, there's no more giant ruts. I've had to reset it 3 times.
I was gonna say, it's been hit a couple times, but other than
Somebody
that,
must stop and keep moving, because yeah,
Can we fill it with concrete?
put a big boulder right there.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know, we'll keep those prices in the back of our head. I guess round it up to $5 grand with signs, 5 a piece. Rough number.
yeah.
Well, how many, you wouldn't necessarily, how many signs did you say, you need 2 signs?
When you speed up ahead, then the speed bump sign. You want
But if
each
you
side
have
of it.
multiple in a road, then you don't need the speed bump ahead, quite as many speed bump aheads per road.
It's 100 feet in it.
I don't know, I'd have to
I think so,
research that.
there's, you have to have, it's 100 or 150 feet, I think you have to have,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
speed
the second
bump
we don't
ahead.
have enough warning there, we're gonna be in trouble.
Got it,
Correct.
I didn't know that, okay.
Maybe people aren't even seeing the ones we have.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand, it's like,
Seeing the sign.
There.
See the sign, you know that.
Okay.
They said they could
The only other thing I had was just a quick from, just wanted to thank Abby and then the crew for Friday. You know, we did get a downpour and flooded our streets a little bit. And luckily the only issue we had was Duffy Hill.
Duffy Hill and Weed
And Weed
Lane.
Lane, which the guys had between Scott and our crew had it all cleaned up on Saturday morning.
That's great.
Wastewater had a long night and day, Friday night into Saturday, but you know, they did what they had to do and kept everything that day, so.
They have an overflow?
They had a slight overflow, yeah, this tank filled in 15 minutes. It alarmed, and by the time, it was like, what, 15 minutes, Brian said? He was here,
15, 20
and it was
minutes.
already overflowing.
We got a lot of rain.
Yeah, I mean, you guys,
4
from,
inches, something?
from one night of my speech, all know how old I am, and I have never seen it rain that much and that hard in that short period of time. Never in my life.
I think Brian said his gauges said we were getting like 1/10 an inch of rain every minute for a while. And like it was like 4 inches of rain in 45 minutes. So
Mhm.
Wow.
it was pretty brutal. But everybody did great. I came in Friday night and just kind of got pictures and saw if everybody needed anything. But
We have good crews.
we have a really
Thank
good
you.
crew that did a
Including
great
you all.
job. And unfortunately, we were trying to see if we could piggyback on FEMA, and
Yeah,
Franklin County's
We don't-
not
we don't qualify?
qualifying. Franklin County as a whole is not qualifying, so we will be on the hook out of our budget for all the expenses.
what's the fees looking like on an overflow?
Well, we don't, it's a violation, but we don't get.
Oh.
we're not getting it. Especially what's going on in the world.
They consider it, what should I say, like,
Some other cities dumping 175,000 gallons a day.
Yes, it could be worse.
We look
we're
pretty
way
good.
lower
Yeah.
radar.
I mean, it's kind of a calculation, so it's not 100% accurate that Brian does. It's a calculation on like how much was in the tank and so forth that he does to provide the state. I think both storms, this one and the one a couple weekends ago, both I think were under 6,000 or something like that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so
Mix it
we're
in
not,
with the other 20 million gallons of water coming out of the sky.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not. But no matter what, I guess according to Brian, I don't know what year it was, but a few years ago they went to zero policy. So
Yeah.
there used to be a gift, if you will, or whatever, if there was announced as a storm. But now it doesn't matter what's going on in the world. It's a violation either way. So can I back up for 1 second? I'm sorry, Leonard. So Leonard gave this to me to read. It's from his neighbor in regards to our speed signs. So it's from John Colburn. My observation, even with the monitors, much of the traffic exceeds the posted speed limit, in many instances excessively so. Many vehicles slowed when they approached the flashing monitors. An equal amount paid no heed. More cars slowed on Pleasant than Elm. The traffic speed was slower on the monitored side of the street. One observation that surprised me was that the several brain dead slowed until they passed the monitor and then gunned it. And I mean, put the pedal to the metal, using the monitor as a starting gun. For lack of a better description, a clear message to the village to go. You finish the sentence. Based on the zero data, my conclusion is that the monitors will have no long-term effect in reducing speeds on the village streets. The return on investment for this project will not be worth the cost or equipment labor to maintain. I thank the trustees for making this effort. However, nothing will change relative to the excessive speeds on our streets until significant penalties are enforced, real penalties. And we, the citizens, demand the courts stop slapping wrists and coddling offenders. Also, when we, the citizens, and our elected leaders collectively stop believing there is nothing we can do about this serious safety issue, and while we work to solve the problem, let's work on reducing vehicular noise.
Vehicular spelled wrong?
Yeah. A quality of life issue when the street noise causes dishes in the cupboards to rattle, and much more. So I think the speed bumps are part of the answer to help the village, and we're working on them.
Yeah, we're trying. Trying different things until we find something that works.
That's it. That's all I got.
Thank you, John. Other business.
Lorraine Scott, in front of her house, the street, that there's, I don't know just what you want to call it, but the water gathers on the street. Cars go by and it splashes, and she's I met her. I talked about it a couple weeks ago, and she was wondering if anybody been over to see. It's because the street, there's always a big water puddle.
Unpleasant, right?
Yeah.
Pleasant. And this winter it'll turn to ice. She says it's like the street is sagging in front of her house.
We have a couple of spots that we're trying to figure out. We have that. We have one on the lower part of Missisquoi. And then it takes quite a bit of rain, but the corner of Archibald and Missisquoi too will also puddle up a little bit. So
Depot.
And then Depot, yeah. So we're looking at a couple ideas there. Because of the grade.
She's getting a little bit of water in her cellar, and she's wondering if this could be, because she didn't used to.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all didn't used to.
I had water in my cellar.
I did too.
I have goldfish.
Mine's kind of above ground.
Yeah. No, she's just wondering if somebody would look at that, see
Yeah,
if something could be done.
We're trying to figure out, because again, like do you change the whole grade level, or do you, we're trying to figure it out.
Like a
All
shared-
three are kind of.
So you have been over, is what Leonard can now tell Lorraine,
Yeah.
that someone is looking.
Yeah, she didn't see anyone, but she works at Habitat a lot, so she's not home. And her dog never reported anybody coming.
We'll give it a biscuit next time.
Any other business?
I know with Vasa, trying to get in town and stuff, we have been working on it, but all the flooding kind of got put on the back burner with the state, so
Yeah.
just the update.
I can imagine some of your trails and class fours are
Yeah.
hurting right now.
Yeah,
Good thing they're all terrain.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But we're still working on it. They just put us on the back folder crossing 105. And,
Yep.
so.
Okay. Anything else? Hearing no other business, I will entertain a motion to move into executive session for the purpose of discussing negotiations in which premature public knowledge may compromise the position of the municipality and personnel.
Will we enter?
Leonard with the first, Sandy with the second. All those in favor say aye.